Good morning, students. Welcome back to the shop. Here's a small engine. This is how you start it. You pull this cord here, like this. Oh, that's bound to happen. If you own a small engine, you're bound to break a recoil starter once a year. Usually happens when you're in the middle of a lake and it's rough or raining, or when you're out as far as you can get away from your house in the bush. So this may save your life. Here are the parts of a recoil starter. Got a little breakdown for you to look at. This is the recoil starter handle or T-handle. This coil here is a coil of rope. This is the recoil housing. This is the recoil spring. The spring and the rope are installed into the pulley. Then we have a starter dog, and the starter dog is controlled by the starter spring. The dogs and the springs are held down by the dog retainer. There's friction put on the dog retainer by the friction spring. And then finally, everything's held together by the center bolt. We are taking off the recoil housing. This has pretty simple access, 8mm wrench. Sometimes not so easy. Sometimes they're hidden in the belly of your snowmobile or under covers on your quad. Simple hand tools usually get the job done. They're designed that way so that people can fix them in emergencies. Here I'm going to take the pulley apart. I'm going to make sure that the tension on the spring is fully off before I take the center bolt out. If there's tension on the spring and you try to pull the pulley out, you get a face full of spring. I'm going to remove the center bolt here. This is the removes the dog retainer and the friction spring, and I'm going to pull those off and put those to the side. You could remove the pulley right now, but I'm going to remove the dogs to show you how they're assembled. The two dogs that you can see, they engage with the starter cup on the engine, and they're held in place by a spring so that they don't contact the starter cup when the engine is running. So you can remove the dog, and you can also remove the little tiny spring here. Take note because you have to put everything back the same way. The most common thing to break on your recoil starter is the rope. To remove the rope, you remove it from the pulley and then slide it out from the housing, from the pulley. The spring will break from time to time as well. You would remove the spring out of the back here, and you usually need to buy a new spring. However, in emergency, sometimes you can bend a new end onto the spring and get yourself out of the bush. In this video here, I'm going to replace the spring. This is sometimes the trickiest part of the whole repair. You need to engage it in the pulley and then use strong thumbs to move this, manipulate the spring back into the housing. Teacher always makes it look easy, and sometimes kids get stuck on this for a whole period trying to get this in. Once you have it into the housing, you have to make sure that the middle tab is close to the center bolt, because that little catch has to catch onto the housing, and that's what connects the two together. So make sure the spring is in the middle so it catches on the center bolt on the housing. We're well on our way to put this back together. the spring is engaged into the housing, and now I'm going to install this dog spring and the dog. Don't put tension on the recoil spring until the center bolt is in. So we have to reassemble these things first. And I'm fumbling with the spring here because it's very small. And I have both of those dogs are spring loaded, so that's correct. I'm going to put this friction spring in the middle, and then I need to orientate the center dog retainer so it is in the right spot, and then I'll tighten the dog retaining bolt, the center bolt. Done job. If you've been paying attention, we haven't put the rope in yet. Before you put the rope in, you have to pre-tension the spring. Turn the pulley in the same direction as it turns when you pull the rope. Think about it. When you pull the rope out, the spring gets tighter and tighter and tighter. So we make the spring fully tight, then we line up the hole in the pulley with the hole in the housing, and then we slide the rope back in through the pulley and out through the housing. Now this rope is ready to go, so I've already tied a knot in the end that's going to engage in the pulley. Now if I let go of this assembly, the rope's going to spin back inside, so I'm going to tie with one hand a slip knot so that the rope doesn't go back inside. Bam. Now on the tag end, I can reinstall the pulley handle. So I just feed this end through the handle again, and I need to tie a knot. Now the correct knot has to be thick enough that it doesn't pull through the handle. It's simpler than you think. The correct knot is called a double granny. So here is a regular granny knot with one loop with the tag end. You just do a second loop with the tag end, and then that tightens up into a fatter knot. You put that back into the handle, take out the slip knot in your rope, let the rope go back inside, and then you test it so that you see the dogs are coming out and the recoil is working. This job is done. You would reinstall the recoil back on the engine and test it out. Pretty simple repair. Please find the test for job number 2 on Edsby. Thank you very much. See you soon.